quick tip for welding in the cold. Make sure you wear lots of nylon-based clothing, so then when you do catch fire, then all that nylon will melt against your skin and form a nice protective layer against the cold. Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce. Several months ago, I was part of a tiny part of the relief effort for the people who were affected by the Helene hurricane. And because that was in the Southeast and I'm a Southeastern boy, so we had to stick up for ourselves. And one of the things I noticed off the bat was how many of my friends and relatives and loved ones are old. I'm no spring chicken, and all my friends and relatives are older than me usually. I was kind of the baby of the bunch. Therein lies a problem when power goes out, because a lot of my friends and relatives are on CPAP machines at night, have diabetes, and have medications that have to be refrigerated. And that is an issue when you lose electricity. So one of the things that I had an issue with was providing power to those people in need. And we had some generators, and keeping those generators filled up was a hassle. Keeping the generators running in general was a hassle, because you don't use a generator every day, or usually you don't. Get that generator out of the mothballs. It may work, it may not work, you just don't know. Which is why I finally bit the bullet and picked up a big old power station from EcoPlay. It's kind of a new player on the field of power generation or power storage units, and this is a big boy. I chose it because of the specs, because it can pretty much run everything I need it to run. But at the same time, I did not look at the size and weight parameters and specs of this machine. So it's not as portable as I wanted it to be, but it is a unit. First thing I'm plugging in is the USB-A, which is the old USB, and it goes to the USB Mini to charge my very old DJI Spark drone. Next up, USB-C to USB-C, and I will be charging my new drone here. And a third USB, also USB-C, and that will be charging my phone. Now this big old battery bank is not really necessary to charge those three items. That's not that big of a deal, but along with those three items I'm charging, I'm also going to be running my Remington pole saw. You probably didn't know that Remington made saws, did you? Well, they actually don't. It's a completely different Remington. For the open test of the EcoPlay here, got that on the ground there, is I'm going to weld in 15-degree temperature. Yes, it's cold, way colder than it should be in Tennessee. Today's bit of testing will be a piece of scrap angle iron that I really should have thrown away years ago. I'm way too hot here. Well, that was fun. Actually, it was not fun. I am not used to the cold weather. I don't like the cold weather, and I got out of the elements as quickly as possible. Yes, this is a super ugly weld. I know it is. I was welding through paint as just a proof of concept to see if the EcoPlay power station can power my welder off the grid, and it totally can. I also tested this sucker with my daily activities at home, working at my normal corporate job. And it will totally power all three of my monitors, my main editing computer, and my work laptop for days. Now, why did I choose to buy the EcoPlay version of this? Well, it came down to price along with the features and options I was looking for in a power station. So the things I was looking for in a power station was, number one, does it have multiple outlets for 120 volt applications? Check. Does it have a 220 volt option just in case I need that? Check. And does it have a whole slew of USB options? Check. And most importantly, the battery chemical makeup is not lithium ion, but lithium iron. I'll put the chemical formula right up here. But that means that it will last much longer and have much slower degradation. It's a heavier battery than lithium ion, than what you'd find in a Tesla, but I'm not driving this around. This is not trying to power itself down the road. If you turn the sucker around on the back side, you have the charging ports, you have the reset if you do overload it or whatever, and if you have a solar array, you can hook it up to solar and charge this through solar. And once you turn it around here, you have all of this information, which is cool. Let me just go ahead and turn it on, and you can see, beep. Here we have how long it's going to last on the current draw, which it says 28 days. There is 0 draw right now. It's just turning itself on. I doubt 28 days is accurate. I think that's just the maximum number of days it has in the system. As you do use it, it will drop down. When I was using my computer on this, it was showing like 2 and 3 days. So that's pretty accurate. It seems like it's an 84% charge right now. And of course, 0 draw. Now, when I was welding, this output on wattage went up to, I think, 23 or 2400 watts, which is way more than it's supposed to, and way more than my Lincoln welder is supposed to draw off a 110 outlet, but it did. And besides this knob right here, which I'll get to in a second, all this stuff is just outputs. All those different ways you can get electricity out of this big old box here. You got your USB, you got your 12 volt, which I probably won't use that often, but it is there in a pinch. And what I'll use mostly is the 4 110 outlets right there. That will be what I'll be mostly using, because I have some small power banks for USB. I didn't need it for that. I do need it for this big section down here. And now this knob right here, when you're charging this, you can use this knob to choose how many watts you are charging it at. So right now, 300 watts. And then you can also charge it at 600 watts, or 900, or 1200 watts. 1500 watts. Okay, the 1500 watts is max apparently. The manufacturer recommends to charge this at the slowest speed possible, which would be 300 watts. That will best preserve the battery life, which is supposed to last 10 years. So this thing is good for 10 years. I think 4,000 full charges, and then it starts to degrade after that. So only use that for emergency situations, such as you've been out of power for a week, you got to go down to the Waffle House, which never closes, and you charge it there in the parking lot. But it's really cool if they give you the option, which most of these power stations do not give you the option of how hardcore you want to charge this thing. It's just either balls to wall or slow as hell. Due to the fact this thing is 92 pounds, it does have a set of wheels on it, and like a piece of luggage, a luggage handle. You just pull that up and you wheel this thing around. On the back side, it does have this bumper right here, so if you want to, you can take up less floor space and sit her on its ass end. And therein lies the issue with this power station. This is where I think I might have made a mistake in my purchasing of this, is the fact that I didn't purchase a smaller option, because I love volume buying. And per watt, this is one of the best deals on Amazon or on any kind of website out there. This is one of the best deals at 3,600 watts. I think I would have been happier if I dialed that back and got something that was maybe 50 pounds. That'd be a lot easier to just throw into the truck without thinking about it versus 92 pounds. With the experience of having the big boy on tap anytime I need it, I've decided I'll probably be buying a much smaller lunchbox size version of this for these small everyday style off the grid activities. But in today's day and age, when everything is battery powered, everything requires an electrical plug, and these are necessities of modern living, I highly recommend getting a power station way over one of those cheap Harbor Freight generators, because people are living too close together now to have a generator running outside everybody's house in a time of need, when you can just plug right in, turn these on, and be good to go. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more is on the way. I'll have links below on some of these power stations that I recommend and I've learned about, because I didn't just jump in this willy-nilly. I did a ton of research before I put down my hard-earned money, and I recommend you guys to do the same as well. But if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave that down in the comments down below. I try to answer as many of those as possible, and as always, you guys have a great day. See ya.